Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Glasgow City Council regular meeting, and we'll ask you to please stand, and we'll begin with the pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You'll remain standing. Councilman Wilkinson will have our invocation.
Let us pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful community and for the opportunity to serve the people in this community. We're grateful for each and every citizen and a chance to work for them to help improve, hopefully, their well-being and prosperity. I would like you to, especially, dear Lord, watch over our city employees and be with them as they continue to work hard and through their endeavors and keep the city rolling. As such, we particularly ask your blessings and your hand on the new officer as he is sworn in tonight, and be with him and his family. Finally, Lord, we thank you for this group of leaders that surround me at this table. Be with us as we try to make the best decisions possible for this community and for all our citizens, and make our decisions be citizen-centered. These things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Be seated. I will ask Ms. Russell to call the roll.
Bunnell.
Present.
Lowry.
Here.
Shoemaker.
Here.
Burris.
Here.
Neal.
Here.
Trigg. Kirkpatrick. Norris.
Here.
Wilkinson.
Here.
Have one absent.
One absent. Thank you all for being here tonight. We appreciate that, and we're going to move forward with our meeting by, first of all, approving the agenda that we are going to operate by. You got last Thursday the proposed agenda for tonight. I will entertain a motion that we proceed using the agenda as it was presented.
Motion, Bunnell.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, from Councilman Neal. Is there any discussion on the agenda as it was presented? All right, all in favor of continuing indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. We will move into the meeting tonight using the agenda that was presented to you last Thursday, which means that we need to now approve the minutes that were taken from the last meeting. On the agenda, you were given the minutes from the last meeting on the 27th of January. I would entertain a motion that we approve those minutes and move them into the record.
Motion, Lowry.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, which means we now have time for discussion. Anybody have any discussions in those minutes you want to see discussed here? There being none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The minutes are entered into the record. All right, let's move forward, and we are going to, first of all, have Chief Howey come to the podium because we've got a new officer to make a part of the family here. Chief?
Council, Mayor, if I could get open to go on up. I'd like to introduce Glasgow's youngest police officer, Colton Riley. He is the son of Terrell and Nicole Riley of Cave City. He has a passion for law enforcement. His father, grandfather, and uncle, I believe, are all in law enforcement. So he's going to carry on that tradition. With him tonight is his wife, Alyssa. She will be pinning him. They reside in Cave City on the family farm with 3 dogs. So, pet lover. He is a graduate from Caverna and is a lifelong resident of Barron County. So he is looking forward to a great career in law enforcement with the Glasgow Police Department. Officer Colton Riley. literally sticking him.
Stop.
Don't let me forget to get that taken care of, okay? Okay, thank you all for enjoying the swearing in of a new officer. As I've been trying to do this year, we have some presentations for the different departments that we have operating in the city, and this seemed very timely because our occupational tax administrator, Nick Hurt, wears a lot of different hats, including that of ABC director. The newest hat is going to be surrounding medical marijuana, which is very topical, and so I thought to have our department update, I would ask Nick Hurt to come up here and give us a report on the way things are going downstairs with the occupational license and what sort of challenges that you've been hearing from the people that do your job in other cities regarding medical marijuana, and we just like to hear a little bit about that, okay?
As Mr. Mayor said, I'm going to give basically a quick report over medical cannabis. I don't have a lot of information, but I do have some. First, there are only 3 types of business-related licenses that can be acquired for medical cannabis. Those 3 types are dispensary, cultivator, and processor. Each of these licenses can only be acquired through the state of Kentucky. There are no local medical cannabis licenses that the city of Glasgow hands out. For Berrien County, there were 2 licenses that were awarded. There was 1 processor license and 1 cultivator license, and as of today, no one has applied for a business license for a medical cannabis-related business in the city of Glasgow. For the Glasgow city fees, as the administrator, I can only charge a medical cannabis-related business as any other business. Basically, all I can do is get a business registration form and fee, and then they pay net profit and they pay occupational or payroll taxes. That's it. I cannot treat them different from any other normal business. They're not like ABC. With ABC, there's a certain set of rules, regulations, and licenses that go along with that. Medical cannabis, so far, is not that way. The Cabinet for Health and Family Services regulates medical cannabis. They're going to be the ones that are going to police it. They're the ones that are going to take care of it. They're going to hand out the licenses. They're going to do all of that. And I will say, if you'd like any additional information, that you can go to the Kentucky website for medical cannabis. That is kymedcan.gov or .ky.gov. And if you have any other questions, I'll do my best to answer.
Y'all have questions for Nick regarding medical cannabis? The one that I'm going to ask is because of the fact that even though we as a city only take the business part of it, it costs those folks a lot of money to apply through the state. Can you give us an example of what the fees are that the state charges?
I didn't write it down. There is several $1,000s to get each of the licenses, and it depends on what they get according to what they're charged. But I don't have the exact number in front of me, so I don't want to say a number and then that not be correct.
Well, I just know that's where the money is right. What it takes to get through the state, and then when the lotteries have happened, then when you come to the local community, you just, like any other business, all that licensing and the big money has been paid before they got to us. So I thought that was interesting.
So Nick, Nick, did you say? I'm sorry, man.
Go ahead.
Nick, did you say no one has applied for either the 2 licenses the county has, or they just haven't started operating yet?
They haven't applied for a business license yet.
All right.
Now, as far as the licenses that the state hands out, that's them. I have no idea who got those. I'm just waiting on if there's anyone that applies for a business license within the city limits.
All right, Terry, did you have a question?
Nick, then your role with this is just from collecting the business tax on it. You don't do anything else associated with it. You don't monitor it. You don't file any other paperwork other than they pay their occupational license fee, the employees there, and they do the license fee. That's it.
Correct.
Okay. No regulation from us. All comes from the state.
Correct.
Okay.
And of course, the other part of since this is a department report, you're pretty busy right now with the occupational tax collection, aren't you?
Yes, sir. We're receiving the fourth quarter of 2024. It comes in, we wait, 2024 ends, and with any quarter it's this way. It's not due for another 30 days. So we're still getting some in, because if it is postmarked by January 31st, then it comes in, there's no fees.
And of course, as a regular business license, I mean, you don't know in any particular day how busy that's going to be, but it does seem there's a lot of people that come through our front door looking for your office. So I think that's a good thing.
Right now, there's been several.
Yeah.
Yes.
That makes us feel good. All right?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions about occupational taxes or business licenses or ABC or anything else from Nick? handles a whole lot of things for us.
I
And
have a question. If you get the cultivate license, will that cover, can you do that for your own use? Or does it have to be for a business?
From what I understand, it's just for a business. There's no own use. This is just medical cannabis.
And is there a certain amount that they have to cultivate?
That I do not know.
all right.
One more question, Mayor
Yes.
Royce. Nick, over the last, say, 12, 18 months, you've been in your position how long now?
This position I've been in since July of 2023.
During that time period, what are you seeing as far as the occupational license fee and the net profits? Have you been seeing any upward trends, I hope, or have we been just hanging on?
I do see a trend. I've actually talked about it with our treasurer and different ones. The trend is that payroll occupational tax is going up. So people are making more, but net profits are going down. So as one's increasing, the other one is decreasing, which, in my opinion, is honestly probably not a really good trend. And it's good that people are making more money, but if businesses do not make a profit, they will close. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we let Nick sit down? All right, appreciate that. Appreciate the department, our departments who are coming up here to kind of bring y'all up to date. We, seems like sometimes we do it like annually, but we have so much going on, it's kind of hard to summarize it with just one report, so thank you for that. We have some old business to deal with in the way of resolutions. Rich, I'll ask you to read those that we are about to consider.
First item is a resolution of the City of Glasgow regarding the Kentucky Legislature action or potential action to mandate centralized collection of occupational fees and taxes. Whereas under Section 181 of the Kentucky Constitution, the Commonwealth of Kentucky cannot impose or require a statewide occupational license tax or fee for local purposes. And whereas many cities and counties across the Commonwealth have enacted and imposed local occupational license requirements, and whereas the receipts affiliated with these funds are recorded into the general fund of the local government and allocated towards providing critical services, including fire, police, emergency management, public infrastructure improvements, and other critical programs and services to the citizens. And whereas the City of Glasgow provides clear, transparent, and efficient payment, receipt, reporting services to those impacted by the occupational license fees and taxes, which is best accomplished at the local level by professionals who have local experience and local knowledge of our communities. And whereas the City of Glasgow strongly believes that mandated state or third-party collection of local occupational license fees and taxes would be detrimental, ineffective, and would have a severely adverse effect on the physical condition and economic development of Glasgow and all local government entities if mandated by the General Assembly. Now therefore be it resolved by the City that it strongly opposes the adoption of any bills into law in whole or in part by the Kentucky General Assembly that provide for the mandated centralized collection of local occupational license fees or taxes, and urges all members of the General Assembly to vote against the proposal of this nature. This resolution would have full force and effect of the law upon passage according to the laws of the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
All right, you've heard the resolution. I think the first thing we should do would be to entertain a motion to approve this resolution. Is there a motion? Okay, is there a second? From Councilman Norris. Okay, we have a motion and a second, so now we can put it up on the floor for discussion. Are there questions that you might have about this? I can tell you, the only thing I can tell you is that this bill has been introduced. It is on the House floor. We're in the short session. We're in the second half of the short session. I have gotten a piece of paper today that a lobbyist had given our state representative, Steve Riley, and then I've spoken with State Senator David Givens about it, and they know that this at least is on our agenda to consider tonight. So there's quite a bit of discussion about it. So I would encourage you all to ask any questions, and maybe we got some answers for you. Yes, Randy?
Well, again, I was at the KLC, and I heard the moans and the groans when this came up. And my first question, the bill is out there now, correct?
It is. It's on the floor.
So, I mean, I'm kind of looking at this as, my first thought then was, wouldn't that be easier for somebody else to do this if you're going to get the same amount of money? But it is my understanding, and Stephanie or whoever's here can explain, is the bill, will it tell you that what percentage they're going to take out, or is there a guarantee they're going to take something out? Or could they be actually doing you a favor by doing this and shooting the money back to you, not Nick having more time to work on some other things and having to do this? I mean, is there another side of this? Where's the, that negative side that, is there a guarantee they're going to eat up some of what they collect for you?
Well, I'm going to let Nick come up here because I told Nick, I said, there may be questions tonight, but I think we really, that's one of the reasons for the opposition is that we just don't know exactly where it's going to go from here. Is that a fair way to say it, Nick?
It is. House Bill 253 is for centralized collection, and some of the things, I'll give you some points. Centralized systems would shift fees to businesses, creating barriers to growth and reducing revenue from occupational taxes. What's going to happen is, yes, it will be centralized, but when they take it in, it could take time for it to make it back to us. Where daily now I'm making a deposit of what's collected during the day, they're saying anywhere around 12 days. State gets it, it makes it to us. 12 business days is 2.5 weeks. So that's a substantial delay. If there's projects or anything that needs revenue, then it's going to be delayed. So cities would be forced to invest taxpayer money in new staff and technology to integrate with a centralized system, because we don't have the capability right now of receiving that from the state. We would have to make changes. There might have to be new staff brought into my office to be able to process it. Because right now what happens is we receive the mail, we put it in, we check it, we verify it, make sure it's correct, that we've got what we're supposed to, that we're not overpaid, we're not underpaid, but that it is correct. This would slow that down. We'd still have to verify it, but it might take days to get that. So.
You clarify, when I was reading the House Bill 253, there's also a section in there, and I recall what you said in the very last paragraph, that cities may need to contribute to funding and setting up the system. But I read something else in there that you may choose to do centralized as a business, or you may not. So this wouldn't completely eliminate it, that you would be dealing with, okay, who are the businesses paying? Are they paying centralized, or are they paying here, which could lead to confusion? And also, how would this impact the success we've had with HDL, that are able to locate those people who come into town, do a small amount of business, but aren't paying?
Right, there would still be the option that they could come. I mean, we'd still have the office, they'd come in if they wanted to. They could pay the state, but then there's going to be the confusion you're talking about. Do they go to the state? Do they come local? Do they pay it online? Do they have to incur a fee to pay it centralized? Well, there's no fee now. I mean, there's a lot of different options and a lot of different variables. The worst thing I see is the confusion that it causes.
There's a lot of mays and coulds
Yes.
in the reading that I've done.
And there's nothing, it's not nailed down, this is the way it's going to be. There's still all kinds of options, but it's going to slow the processes down.
And I think that as we as a council and look at our budget, the occupational license fee is a large part of our general fund revenue. And so now we're going to depend upon the General Assembly to make decisions about the timing of that, the system involved, and we're letting someone else control a major, over 60% of our general fund revenue is leaving local and going to Frankfurt. And I completely don't understand that at all. And I think we've got to pass this resolution and voice to Frankfurt that they need to let the cities do what they do best, and that's staying close to our businesses, working with them in the collection of these taxes so that we can operate our cities. So it makes no sense to me. I don't see an economies of scale with it. There's always unintended consequences. And again, as Nick just said, you know, we're looking at 12 days at minimum that we would get money on this, and that's just letting it go. And so I think I would hope everyone's going to vote that with this resolution that we're opposing the action of the General Assembly on this.
All the people that I surveyed today agreed with this. Everyone that we should oppose it.
I think we looked that we're not the first council to bring this up, that Bowling Green, Owensboro, Franklin, and Frankfurt, and then I think Edmonton have also already addressed resolutions, because there is some concern about what this is going to mean for local government that bring in, I think there were 86 counties and hundreds of cities that do occupational licensing fees, so, you know, we're not the first to bring this up and have concerns over it.
Yes, and historically, the state has tried this on other programs, and every time they've done that, they've asked us to pony up to help them build or establish a new system that doesn't exist, you know, off our backs. And then the first thing they do is they put it in writing here that they want to bring in a third party, so then the third party, by the time he gets his fees and everything else, so now we're paying for a system, we'll be paying a third party to adjudicate how the money flows and the delay on it. And again, I'm just going by the state's track record in the past when they implemented these kind of programs. It hasn't worked out good.
Well, and I think that's what I'm trying to get is, y'all have been here a while. I have not. How has this worked in the past? Have you had issues with the state before? Because from a new guy standing in here, you know, it kind of seems like, hey, if I'm sitting in your shoes, shoot me the check down here, and that's, you know, I got a lot of other stuff to keep me occupied and busy, and you go ahead and do that work for us, and to me it's helpful. Now, if they're going to slice a big chunk out of it, but and I'm not trying to be against this, I'm really not. Right. I'm just asking questions, trying to learn, you know, as a newbie here that, you know, it kind of, you know, I was in school, and we certainly didn't collect property tax. We had somebody else do that, but you know, from the school system, but we also paid for that, for the sheriff's departments to collect that. But so, you know, I'm sure there probably is some hoops to jump through, but, you know, I'm looking out for I really am looking out for the right. best of you standing there. If your job can be made a little bit easier, then I'm for that, whatever it is. And I think, you know, what I'm hearing is nobody really knows. You're voting on this with what you've dealt with in the past, kind of the fear of, you know, we're not going to get it for 12 days, and that, you know, that kind of bothers me there. 12 days, if we're going to be in trouble not getting the money for 12 days, but, you know, that a little bit disturbing. But anyway, I'm not against it. I'm just questioning it and just seeing if anybody had any more legitimate, specific ways to tell me that, yeah, that's going to happen in 12 days for sure. They're not going to take a slice out of it. You told me there'd probably be some kind of new system you'd have to employ, which we would have to pay for. And again, I've been through that with the school system. They'll mandate something, and all of a sudden you've got to add some kind of new system in for that mandate, or they mandate something and they don't fund that. So yeah, I played the state game quite a bit through the school system, so I know it can work their way, but right now I don't, you know, we just don't have the real specific answers. You're probably going on a little bit of fear of probably what's going to happen, and you probably know a lot much better than I do, so.
Right, and I appreciate you seeking understanding. And I think the fear is, and I'll be honest, the first time that I saw this, I thought, okay, what would be the bad parts of them collecting? Because then it's not coming to us. They're keeping up with it. But it still has to be put in our system. We still have to go through all the processes. Everything would be the same. We'd have to have a new system, and what I mean by would be the same, when I receive in a check, it comes with the paperwork. I do a line item into the system telling how much it is to a certain account. Everybody, every business in the city has an account number, and it goes to their account to show that they were the one that paid it. All that would still have to be done, every bit of it, by us in my department. We just would not have the money for at least 12 days. So I mean, there's nothing's going to change as far as we still have to have a new system, but the processes would still be the same. We're just going to be behind on any money that we collect.
And just think about the communication is I, as operating a business, am I going to deal with Frankfurt? I'm going to deal with the local folks here in Glasgow, you know, who can answer a question for me. So I have concerns about communication, interaction, and the problem with sending a check on an invoice and it didn't get credited to me, then, you know, I get caught in this, you know, circle. And, you know, here we come downtown, we take care of it. I don't think it's going to happen if it goes to Frankfurt. And again, that's another reason I think we need to pass this resolution and oppose action of General Assembly on this.
Just one piece of information, because of the fact that I also serve on the 911 Communications Board. This is a big problem over there because every penny that comes out of your cell phone bill as a tax goes to Frankfurt. Then it comes back to us. And the amount of money that comes out of your check going to pay for your cell phone bill versus what comes back to Glasgow to operate the 911 center is ludicrous. How little we actually get back. It didn't used to be a big problem because everybody had a home phone. Well, now the home phones aren't being utilized, so there's no income to fund the 911. So, I mean, I'm sitting on that side of seeing how that Frankfurt gets this money, and they've got all kinds of ways to keep it, and it puts a real hardship on the people doing the work for the people who are paying the tax.
I appreciate y'all answering, listening to this and just trying to help me understand both sides of this a little bit, so thank you, I appreciate it.
If I may, also as far as personalized service, I was just talking about, I have instances, I had one yesterday, I received a check that was not ours. It went to a different city. I called them and I asked, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to mail it to you? Do you want to contact the client? What do you want? If it goes to Frankfurt, I don't know what's going to happen. We do not know the processes there. They're going to take it in because if it's online, it's going to be applied. Then there's all kinds of confusion. Again, I have people call me daily asking questions. It's personalized service. So.
And again, the resolution is for us as a body to say that we're against it, if we want to do that, if we want to pass it. Now, obviously, there's a whole bunch of people lobbying against it as well, including the Kentucky League of Cities, including the Kentucky Association of Counties, KCO. So there's a whole lot of people who don't want it, but I think that as a responsible body, if we see fit, then there's no reason to not approve it. But everybody gets to vote, and we'll live with what the outcome is. So with that being said, I'll call a question. All those in favor of passing the resolution opposing the bill brought forth indicate by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed to not entering into this resolution opposing the bills, like sign. Okay. Unanimously approved, and we will make this resolution, it'll be public, and the other people will know, the other cities will know that we have gone on record, because a lot of them have gone on record. That's where we are. Okay? Good discussion. Rich?
Next item is a resolution of the legislative body of the city approving a certified city of ethics proposal. Whereas the legislative body of Glasgow desires to continue being a certified City of Ethics in accordance with the Kentucky League of Cities Certified City of Ethics program. And whereas it is necessary to enter into an agreement with KLC to carry out the program requirements, which includes ordinance review, adoption of a resolution, and training, and whereas the attached agreement outlines the program requirements and requires approval by the city to all of the elements. Now therefore be it resolved by the legislative body of Glasgow that the agreement attached to this resolution be approved and that the mayor be authorized to execute same on behalf of the city.
Okay, you have heard the reading of this resolution to where we approve being a part of the Kentucky League of Cities Certified City of Ethics. I will entertain a motion that we approve this resolution.
Motion, Lowry.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
From Councilman Neal. So we're up to where we can have discussion. Anybody not understand what the City of Ethics is about, and have any questions about what the program does? All right. That being said, then I will call a question. All in favor of approving this resolution indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Like sign. The resolution carries unanimously.
Next item is a recurring item that we have every year, and rather than read the entire resolution, I'll just summarize it. If you have any questions, feel free. This resolution concerns our funding of the city's transit system. We do this every year to make certain assurances that the city will comply with federal laws, which are a condition to receiving the grant monies. Things such as anti-discrimination, making sure that we apply with the Civil Rights Act, things of that nature. This is a housekeeping resolution that we do every year for the transit system.
Okay, excuse me. I wanted to straighten out a piece of information right there. This resolution, this has a lot to do with our transit program. This has a lot to do with the city bus. It is a much utilized and very successful program. It's a federal program. That's the reason why that we have to file this resolution with the Department of Transportation. I'll indicate, or rather, accept a motion that we approve this resolution.
Motion Norris.
Is there a second?
Second, Vanille.
Okay, and April, do you want to say anything about this resolution with respect to the transportation, our transportation cabinet or department?
Sure. We do this each year. We have to reapply for the grant funding every February and March, and this is part of that process. We run a transit system, and they pay 50% of that cost. It runs every day but Saturday and Sunday. We do, I think, 5 of the holidays we take on an abbreviated schedule now. And it has 23 stops.
It's very well done, and it really helps a lot of people out.
And it's a free service
Yes,
that
it
we
is.
offer.
So we should jump in on this resolution to kind of keep it going for sure. All right, so we have a motion and a second. I'll ask to call the question. All in favor of approving this resolution indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Okay, the resolution is passed.
Last item of business is a resolution for the City of Glasgow to make application for a grant with FEMA assistance to fund confined space response awareness training for the Glasgow Fire Department. Be it resolved by the City of Glasgow that April Russell, grant writer for the city, is authorized and directed to make application on behalf of the city for a grant in the amount of $11,428.57, which is administered through the FEMA Assistance Program, which will be used, if received, for the purpose of training in Confined Space Response Awareness Operation Tech for the Glasgow Fire Department. This is a 5% matching grant. The local share, if received, would be $571. The total grant would be $12,000. Be it resolved by the City of Glasgow that Mayor Royce is directed and authorized to execute all documents for this grant.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. This is an opportunity to accept a grant to help out with the fire department. I will entertain a motion to approve it.
Motion Norris.
Is there a second?
Second.
From Councilman Neal. All right, we have a motion and a second. What about discussion? We do have the benefit of Fire Chief Tinsley, who is here. I don't know whether there's something that you would like to say about this, or any questions in the discussion period about this grant? It seems pretty straightforward to me, but we want to make him available if you all are curious about anything to do with it.
Yes, this is a grant we typically try to put in for every year, Assistance to Firefighters Grant. It can be for a multitude of things. We have a lot of industry and facility here in Glasgow that like to utilize our department for rescue efforts for when they enter into confined spaces. We have a very young department. This grant, if awarded, will be looking to bring instructors here so that we can get more of our guys to participate in the program as opposed to having to send just a few at a time out in other places and hotel stays and all that other stuff. So,
Is something new, Chief? Is training something new altogether?
no, it's not new altogether. But again, young department, we have several guys that have not got a lot of background in this. So we're doing due diligence to try to keep people up and make sure that we're responding as we should for the community that we serve.
Other questions? Good discussion. All right, I'll call the question. All in favor of approving this resolution for this grant for the fire department indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. The resolution passes. All right, I'm this is in the announcement section, but since Eddie Furlong is here, we've had a change in the hours of operation for the city parks to align with daylight savings time. And do you want to just come up here and this has already happened, it's already posted, but you just explain it, sir.
Yeah, so we met a week ago tonight, actually, and just decided to make things a little bit easier. We're going to coincide with daylight savings time, so from now until March 2nd or 9th, I don't remember which one, 8th, March 8th, we will be 7 to 7, and then after that it will be 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. until next fall.
Okay, all right. And this is posted on the website and on the rec department website, so
It is.
if anybody is curious about it, it's online a lot of places too until people get used to it, okay? All right, we don't need a vote on that. A couple of other announcements that I would like to bring forth. Before we meet again, that we're going to have a big groundbreaking on Wednesday, the 19th day of February. This is going to be a groundbreaking for the new Farmers Market, which is going to be located on West Main Street right next to the Glasgow Post Office. And we're going to have some folks here who are going to operate the shovels, break the ground for the Farmers Market, and it's going to be at 12 noon. We'd like for all of you all, or as many that can, come out there because, you know, this has been on the table for a long time, and we're seeing the ground broken coming up on on Wednesday the 19th. Just be aware of that. Also, be aware of the fact that we are going to be closed on the President's Day. It's got the date of February the 19th, but I don't think that's what that is. February 17th. I don't want to mess up the presidents. And then we have a double garbage day, which means Monday and Tuesday's trash will be done on Tuesday. Have your trash cans out. The bus service, though, is going to run on President's Day at an abbreviated schedule of 8:15 to 3:55, and we'll be back in here on the 24th day of February for another council meeting. With that being said, and with the agenda being completed, I entertain a motion that we adjourn.
Motion, Benel.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, so we got a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for your attention and excellent discussion.